All right, this is going to be just a little review or overview of my solid body electric tenor guitar that I had custom made for me, and the kind of the process that I went through to have it made. So I wanted a solid body electric tenor guitar. I have a couple of acoustic tenor guitars that I put like floating pickups on, and they're great, but I really wanted something purely electric. And there's a couple of options, but not a lot of options out there, and nothing wrong with those, but I wanted something a little more unique, and if I could save some money in the process, that would be even better. And so I had considered building my own from scrap parts, and I decided that I would end up spending more on supplies and tools to make my own in my own workshop, I guess. Then I would have an inferior guitar, and I considered just modifying a cheap regular six-string electric guitar, but I thought that would also yield unsatisfactory results. And I'm making this video for people who are already familiar with tenor guitars in general, but if you're not, it obviously has 4 strings instead of the 6 of a regular guitar. Also, the neck is much narrower, and the scale is shorter. In other words, the neck is shorter, and the frets are a little bit closer together, so the spacing is a bit different. So just simply taking 4 strings off a standard electric guitar, people do that, but it wasn't what I was going for. I really wanted something with a standard tenor scale, so I could tune it in fifths. C, G, D, E, or excuse me, C, G, D, A is how I have this tuned, and that's kind of considered the standard tenor guitar tuning. So what I ended up doing is looking at Aliexpress, and which is kind of a controversial site in some ways, because they're known for sometimes not having the best quality, and they also have no problem with completely just counterfeiting guitars. So that's not something they say on their site, but if you decide to go the route I did, make sure that you don't have any logo up here that says Gretsch or Fender or Gibson or what have you, because that's counterfeit, and they'll stop that to customs. Okay, so what I did is I found a workshop or a storefront or whatever you want to call it, that was selling basically what this body is a replica of a Gretsch Jupiter Thunderbird that was developed by Bo Diddley, like in the late 1950s, or I think it was in the late 1950s, as a standard 6-string guitar that he used. And so this is kind of basically what the body of that guitar looks like. But and I kind of liked it, because I kind of like the sort of offset, just the funky, and they made one in this silver sparkle. I thought that was cool, but I wanted it in a tenor 4-string configuration. Now, they didn't even know what a tenor guitar is, and in fact, so here's what I did. I contacted a maker, a seller, basically, who was selling these, and I said, could you customize that to a 4-string tenor guitar with such and such scale and such dimensions? And they said, yeah, they could do that. And it was, and the price for that would be about $320 some. And I thought, all right, so at that price point, even if it comes kind of not perfect, which I'm expecting, it'd be a good starting point, a good sort of project guitar to make it better. if need be. Okay, so I contacted them. They, like I said, they didn't even know what a tenor guitar is, and in fact, in some of the couple of times in the correspondence with them, they said they referred to it as my bass, and I thought, oh no, what are they building? But so what I did do is I gave them very detailed, I think, specifications for the neck and for the scale overall, and including the gauges that the strings would be and the tuning and so forth. And I also specified no logo. Now you can actually create your own logo and have it put on there. And I considered that, but I just thought it was just cleaner and nicer just to go blank on the thing. And this is also a long process. So, because they built this thing to order, and there was a lot of back and forth, and I think I started the process in December of 2022, and I got this, I want to say, in May of this year of 2023. So it was there were a lot of emails back and forth. They kind of goofed things up. I originally when I ordered this, I thought it was going to have a Bigsby that connected back to the tail. I forget what that's called, like a B7 style. I mean, this is a fake Bigsby, a Fosby, I guess. But they didn't put that. They didn't put any Bigsby on, and then I asked them to redo it, and they had to redo the whole thing, and then I think they had to rebuild the whole thing because they'd kind of goofed it up in the process. So that was another delay, and so they put this on, and this works great. And I'll share my specifications. I'll just edit those in so you can see what I sent them. All right, so then when I got it, and then so it was about $320, and then it was about $100 for shipping. I live in Montana in the United States, so it's a long ways from China. But then when I got it, the only thing that I noticed right away was it looked like there was a crack or something on the neck, and I thought, oh, dang, that's going to be bad. I sent them a picture, and then they refunded me $50 on the whole thing. And I took it to my luthier, and he thought maybe it was actually just a scratch in the finish because he couldn't find much depth to it at all, or it didn't move, it didn't do anything. I mean, he covered it up so you can't really even see it, but I don't know. If it is a crack, it's a minor and fixable, and it hasn't been a problem. And then the only other thing is that after, I don't know, a few days, I had to get the input jack replaced, and that wasn't really a big deal. But it just quit making sound, and I thought, I wasn't sure what it was, and that's all it was. And that's like a $15 part. It wasn't really that big of a deal. All right, so the rest of it is, I think it's pretty great. I don't know how well this shows up, but it's got kind of a fairly deep neck, which I like. I wanted it to be, even though it's thin, I wanted it to be pretty substantial. And it comes with two, I don't know, I would call them vintage voiced humbuckers, mini humbuckers. They're supposed to look like Filtertrons, which they do kind of look like that. I don't know really what they are exactly, but they're kind of a quieter, like a lower output mini pickup that I think I really like, actually. I was prepared to have to replace those, but I'm happy with it. The Bigsby is fine. It's a fake Bigsby. I did slip in a different spring because these fake Chinese Bigby's are kind of renowned for having these big long springs that are kind of weird, and so I just put that in. But other than that, it's got front and back and middle like standard. This is the bridge, pickup, volume, tone, and then neck, and then bridge, volume, tone. Okay, so that's pretty much all there is to it. I think it sounds pretty nice. Now I've just got this plugged into like my little mini cube amp, you know. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of you know, just to give you kind of an idea of the sound. You know, but that's what I did, and I know, like I said, Aliexpress gets a pretty bad rap, and maybe rightfully so. You can't expect what you're going to get to be the same quality as made by Gibson, or even established companies like Eastwood that make a lot of tenor electric guitars, and they make them in China, but they have actually a quality control program. So I mean, this is just a one of a kind for now, custom, one of a kind. Yeah. So if that's something you've been thinking about, you want a custom made tenor guitar, and you're not finding it on eBay or Reverb or one of the sites or one of the makers, you might try something like this. It's a bit of a gamble. You got to know that going in, and you need to have patience because it's a process, and you have to be okay with communicating back and forth, and using the metric system. Everything they're going to need to see centimeters and millimeters, not inches, like we're used to in the States. And yeah. If you're open to getting something that might need some work. Like I said, I've been like this hasn't so far really needed much work, and I've had it now. It's what is this, mid-July, and I've had it for almost 2 months, and I've been playing with it every day. Yeah, give it a try, and you can get something really cool. I think it's funky and fun, and just sounds good too. All right, that's it for now.